If you had hoped that Scarlett Johansson might return as Black Widow at some point in the Marvel Universe, that hope might be dashed today because Scarlett just sued Disney for breach of contract. In the lawsuit, Scarlett claims that much of her compensation for the film was to be based on box office performance, and since the film was released simultaneously on Disney+, it means the theatrical box office earnings have been depleted, which ultimately hurts Scarlett's bottom line. So Scarlett's attorney gave a statement to Variety saying, "It's no secret that Disney is releasing films like Black Widow directly onto Disney Plus to increase subscribers and thereby boost the company's stock price, and that it's hiding behind COVID-19 as a pretext to do so. But ignoring the contracts of the artists responsible for the success of its films in furtherance of the short-sighted strategy violates their rights, and we look forward to proving as much in court. This will surely not be the last case where Hollywood talent stands up to Disney and makes it clear that whatever the company may pretend, it has a legal obligation to honor its contracts." Now, Disney wasted no time in publicly responding to Scarlett's lawsuit, saying she's already been paid $20 million for the film, and adding, "There is no merit whatsoever to this filing. The lawsuit is especially sad and distressing in its callousness to disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic." Now, clearly Disney is trying to make Scarlett look greedy, and you can't look at it that way. I mean, we always talk about, actor salaries, how huge they are, but you have to look at it at how much money these movies make. So yeah, it's ridiculous how much an actor makes compared to a teacher, let's say, or a doctor. But there is some balance in terms of, how much this money this movie makes. And we always talk knowing your worth. So if Scarlett knows that, Disney is making this much money off Black Widow, and she's only seeing a small piece of pie of that, that's not really fair. So this is really going to come down to numbers overall. But yeah, this is an interesting lawsuit because I really want to know more details about this. Like, what was actually in her contract? Because I think at this point, there must be stipulations for streaming revenue and what percentage the artist is going to get off that. Like, I've often talked about with TV shows that were made, let's say, even in the early 2000s, there was a huge part of the chunk of the money was going to be when a show went to syndication. So once you hit 100 episodes, usually a show would go to syndication, and that's where you make all this extra money. The actors make all this extra money. Of course, that's not really a thing anymore, say with streaming, because most shows are going to streaming. So I think about, say, a show like The Office. That cast wouldn't have had a stipulation in their contract about streaming, and so now they're probably not seeing the money they would have seen in syndication, because obviously the show's not doing that well in syndication. Everyone's watching it on streaming, so they aren't really seeing the money for that. But yeah, you'd think in Scarlett's contract it would all be stipulated if this goes to streaming and she's going to get a percentage of that. So yeah, I'm really interested to hear your guys' perspective of this. Is this Scarlett being greedy, or is this Scarlett standing up for knowing her worth and just knowing she should get more money because this went to streaming? The only interesting thing that she says is that Disney promised that this would only be exclusive theatrical release. That tells me that maybe it wasn't in her contract and they just kind of promised it to her in a conversation, which of course wouldn't necessarily have the legal bounds. So I don't know where this is going to land, but yeah, clearly there's some issues between Scarlett and Disney. It's interesting that, we were wondering if this is the end of Black Widow, and I think this lawsuit means this is the end of Scarlett as Black Widow. But yeah, I want to hear your thoughts.